I know a way to solve the basketball variability problem, like the predictability of basketball. We need to officially make basketball a sport. Think about it. You take the variability of baseball and you alleviate like the symptoms of the variability of basketball and make it basketball. And we can have Matt Stone and Trey Parker be the commissioners.
No.
like they started the movie.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
No, here's what you do. You assign each player on the starting five or on the court a number 1 through 5, and you have a random number generator each possession select a number 1 through 5, and that player must take the shot this possession or it's a turnover.
Is this basketball or is this around the world?
And that's the idea.
If I shoot and you miss, you the next person in line gets to take the shot.
That's the idea.
Welcome everybody. This is the DVD show. I'm your host, co-host, D with 2 E's. You introduce your name.
Wait, I have to talk? I didn't know I was supposed to talk on this thing. I thought I was supposed to look pretty. No. I'm Dan.
Dan and D.
Dan and D. We're 2 D's.
Last names start with V, so DV squared or DVD, so D versus D, whatever. Play on words, but you get the point. This is the show. Tell us what we're going to be doing on this show.
We're going to talk about sports and some other things. I think really this is going to be much more in the format of kind of a flowing conversation. We're going to kind of have topics that we're discussing, but we just talk a lot about sports and kind of a lot about the experience of being sports fans.
Mm-hmm.
And
no doubt.
We really have no qualifications to be doing this other than, I would say, raging arrogance.
Yeah, so we're not going to have no sources. We don't have any, like, connections. We don't have, like, all these insider sources, like, on speed dial, like, Adam Schefter. We're not like that. So
what if we did, though?
That would be awesome. And Adam Schefter, he, like, especially in free agency, he's, like, the greatest dude ever. Like, he works 24/7 on free agency.
Shefty, bro, Shefty, if you're listening, we have no money to give you, but we'll
endorse you.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely tell our 2 listeners that you are the best.
And then we're talking about sports too, so and other things. We're basically shooting the breeze here. So main focus is going to be sports because we're both passionate fans about sports. You know, he's got his niche, I got mine, and then we got some things that we share common ground for. He's our baseball guy right here. I'm more of like passionate about my football and wrestling. We're gonna be talking about maybe other things like that we may feel like, such as music, video games, movies, etc. So basically, a non-professional Mike and Mike. So
yes, no, we're apparently Mike and Mike's no more, dude.
Oh,
did you hear about that?
Oh my gosh! Like, can that be our first topic then? Like, I did not know this.
Sure.
When that happened. Like,
so
was this last show this Friday or something?
I don't think it's ended yet. Let's immediately.
They've been
go
saying
to some
like
research.
They've been saying Greeny has been was leaving the show, but that was like I heard that 6 months ago. Did he finally leave, or is it still going?
Basically, well, I'm seeing some results about Mike Greenberg announces the end of Mike and Mike. Basically, ESPN did their like big conference where,
and that was this week.
I
missed it.
Where they were trying to sell, I guess sell advertisers on ESPN is totally fine, and Deadspin did a great write up on this. So if you would like to hear something other than me badly paraphrasing it, please go and give that a read. But yeah, so Mike and Mike is ending. I guess Greeny is going to go. Yeah, Greeny is going to go. I guess get his own show, and I can't remember what they're doing with Golic, but yeah, very sad. It sort of feels like it's now only a matter. The sports reporters ended too, by the way.
I know.
Because
Did I send you something on that?
No, I accidentally watched the last broadcast of Sports Reporters because I just happened to be up early last Sunday, and
you are a lucky man. I missed it.
And yeah.
Plus, to be honest though, was Sports Reporters dead when John Saunders died? Yeah, it was.
And
God rest
very,
his soul.
very sad. It really feels like all these things are kind of coming together. That this is like the end of an era for ESPN in a lot of ways. And
Mike and Mike, it feels like when it started, like early 2000, like 2000.
I think it started in 2000.
Now I didn't start watching it until I was in high school because I always woke up watching either like Nickelodeon cartoons, or if I was going to watch ESPN, I'll watch the highlights. But I would get so bored from the highlights because they'd be showing the same stuff over and over, and I just got bored from it. So I was like ESPN 2, and all of a sudden I saw these two guys talking about sports that I wanted to hear about. I wanted to hear commentary about two guys' perspective, and it just stuck with me. And that's how I got introduced to Mike and Mike. It might have been like 2004 or 2005.
I think that was around the same time for me too, because it's kind of the same thing. I think actually I was never up early because, okay, spoiler alert, I was homeschooled. I'm really weird.
I was in public school and I went through some mental turmoil, but I turned out okay. I'm slightly insane.
Also, I'm vegan and I write death metal.
And I'm not a carnivore, but I love my meat and I listen to Japanese music. We'll go on to that in another time, but I digress.
Anyway, it was around the same time for me, and I think I would watch the rebroadcast in the afternoon. And the thing that always kind of got me about them, I especially as I got older, I cared less for their perspective on sports things, but they just genuinely seemed like very nice people who genuinely enjoyed each other's company and were friends off screen.
They seemed like best friends.
Yeah, and they had really wonderful chemistry.
I love the nerd and jock dynamic that they kind of had going on.
Yeah.
Green never really was no athletically gifted guy and played in the NFL.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that they absolutely played that up for the cameras, but it was always endearing. It was always charming. They really were kind of like America's morning radio show, morning sports talk radio.
It was my morning show.
And a little nicer, I guess, than probably your local talk radio station, and with fewer racist people calling in. So
right. Also, let me tell you my first experience of it. I knew of its existence before I actually watched it. I remember the first thing I saw was a commercial, and it was Greenie is sitting at they're at a diner table. Greenie on one side, Golick on the other. Greenie's looking real depressed, right? He looked like somebody stepped on his dog or something. And then Golick's so what if Mike Dicker called you a pencil neck geek? And then something like that.
Oh yeah.
And then could you pass the salt? And he's sadly pass the salt or the sugar or whatever. And I just remember that. I'm then that was my first exposure to Mike and Mike before even watching the show.
Dude, I forgot all about that. God.
I remember some obscure commercials or TV moments. I do. It's a weird gift, I know.
It's going off the rails, but I remember around that time that weird Magic the Gathering commercial that was on TV. Send in bulb from accounting.
Oh gosh.
And oh man, I can't even remember the rest of it. Anyway.
I still want to see the idea you mentioned of Luke Kuechly playing blue. Him being the defensive.
Mana League. We're nerds, y'all.
We are
nerds.
I'm proud to accept. I used to fight that for the longest time because I used to hate being a nerd or a geek, but at some point it didn't come to when I came to college. I ran into guys like you and our other friends that we're friends with now that finally helped me accept that. I was dude, there's other people that are like me. I'm not too self-conscious about that now, and I just accepted it. So
yeah, and I mean, I think too we are definitely from the school of
hard knocks. Nah, I'm kidding.
We're from the school of hard nerds.
Bingo.
If you and I were friends and we were fans of different teams, and we, trash talk
cool.
each other a little bit.
That's
we're
fine.
friends.
Yeah, that's cool.
But, like, you meet some random dude on the street, and he wants to, like, step up to you and talk shit about... and it's, just, like, literally because you're, like, wearing a Patriots hat. It's just, like, fuck off,
it depends. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if it's friends or strangers. It depends on the approach. Now, if they have, like, a cheerful thing, and they say, huh, your team stinks, or something like that. Like, but if they're, like, in your face, like, they looking at you, if they're wanting to fight you, or them, like, they sound like fighting words, then that's when I have a problem with it.
Legit. I really, like, I basically have almost never worn this jersey on the wall here. I have a David Ortiz jersey hanging on the wall for those of you who are not watching along on our televised program.
I'm wearing Carolina.
But jerk. Anyway, no, I'm just messing. I love trolling Carolina and Duke fans, just FYI.
Because they're the only basketball schools that matter
basically,
outside of Kansas and Kentucky.
I'm a very sad Boston College fan. But anyway, the point is, literally, I don't even wear gear much anymore, and the reason is, like, when I got into baseball in, like, the early 2000s, right at the height of, like, the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry, and those are both two, like, fan bases that are basically, like, nationwide. You'll meet Red Sox and Yankees fans everywhere you go in the country, and so, like, here I am, a kid living in North Carolina, and literally, I'm like 14, and I'm wearing my Red Sox hat around, and I go with my sister and my mom to the fucking mall, and literally, these two women who were adults, they were, like, at least in their 20s or 30s, started, like, screaming at me from across the park. No, I shit you not. Because I was wearing a Red Sox hat, and they were just, like, yelling at me, like, yeah, we signed Johnny Damon, you guys suck, man. And I'm just like, and I literally just, like, pretended I didn't hear.
Did they expect to win something?
Like, what is the point of that? And maybe this is me, I am kind of a socially awkward person, and I sometimes struggle to understand human beings, so I'm like, willing to accept maybe there's some social cue I missed in this situation, maybe, but, like, seriously, what is the point of that? What are you, like, here you are, person, adult, what are you gaining from, like, yelling across the parking lot at a kid?
Yo, let me tell you something though.
And this is, like, if I could pick one thing to exemplify the kind of sports fan that I'm not, and the kind of show that this is not going to be, it would be that. Well, we are not going to tell you that your team sucks.
But let me tell you something.
Unless they're actually really bad.
Let me tell you the reasoning behind that experience there. Well, for you to be exposed to, like, people being jerks, about their sports teams. That's one. But let me tell you, we as a society, especially when it comes to sports, or about anything, about sports, politics, movies, music, etc., we as a society, we're all critics. We love to talk crap. We love to trash talk. Even if we don't intend to do so, we sometimes will unintentionally be talking junk, crap, trash, whatever. And it seems like just us talking, like someone just talking trash or saying it directly to an opposition makes us feel better. I don't know. I can't. That's the only way I can explain it. But we as a society are trash talkers, and we're gonna critique this. Oh, this is terrible, or this is really good. We can't go through life without doing that to some degree.
Yeah,
but to a kid though, that's what I draw. That's one of the lines I draw there. But anyway, Boston.
Yes, I'm sorry. Sports.
Boston.
I promise this is a sports
podcast.
Boston. So
you all be ashamed of yourself. Like, look at me. Like, let me take this for a minute here. Celtics.
Go ahead.
Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm a Bulls fan. So y'all put us out in the first round, and we probably would have put you out in the first round if Rondo didn't, injure himself. So I'm still mad about that because we had you on the ropes 2-0 and then we dropped 4 straight. But I'm not salty or that salty about that because y'all are still like a better team than us. Most people, even the people that didn't make the playoffs, are probably better Eastern Conference teams than us. But you have a number 1 seed. People have been calling you the worst number 1 seed in history. And the worst thing y'all could have did was prove the critics right. And right there, you did. Y'all are at home. Y'all got blown out game 1. It looked like y'all made no adjustments. Y'all didn't look up any game film. Seemed like y'all just didn't have any heart. None. Zilch. Not. It seemed like y'all did a bad rerun of game 1, except took away extra baskets.
Even worse.
Worse. And how can you do that with your home fans? That is basically going to be y'all's send out for the city of Boston, because y'all going to come back swept. Y'all not coming back to the TD Garden. And I don't think the fans will really want y'all to come back to the TD Garden and play against Cavaliers if a blowout like that is going to be predetermined, pretty much. And now that Isaiah Thomas is gone with his hip now, there's literally no chance whatsoever. Like, I was looking at Twitter. Really was looking at Twitter. Gosh. When you look at Twitter, especially a trending topic, especially a team that's trending on the wrong side of it, the internet can be savages. And I just kept reading it for like probably about 10 minutes. I was reading these feeds as they were coming in. I even sent in a feed, and that was inspired by you saying, hey, the Monstars took their talent. You're a pro team. How do you get blown up by 40 at halftime and again it wound up getting blown out 40 at the end? And this is the Eastern Conference Finals. I know it's the Cavaliers, but get blown out by 20, not 40.
Okay.
Oh,
so
my head hurts just thinking about that blow. I'm glad I didn't have TNT.
The reason I didn't interrupt is I'm actually sitting here sobbing into my t-shirt. No,
you knew this was going to happen, but not this badly.
Yeah, and I think I sort of feel like I don't even know where to start with this one. This was brutal, man. Like, I really didn't. I can't like say that I got super emotionally invested in this team this year, but I definitely did watch them a few times throughout the season, and they're better than that. They're a much better team than that, and it's, you know, where does that begin and where does the greatness of LeBron end? Who knows? LeBron is the best. Yeah, he's convinced me, man.
He's the king.
He's the best player ever.
Well, he's been convinced me, man. Like think about it. The Heat were a playoff team, but not a championship team. But then when LeBron jumped in there, they instantly became like a team with championship potential. Like they put them in the finals that year.
Like, I honestly believe, take LeBron, put LeBron on literally any NBA roster, or better yet, generate a blank roster in 2K of replacement level players, put LeBron on that roster, it's a playoff team. And honestly, in the Eastern Conference, that's a team that probably makes it all the way to the finals.
What about the 76ers?
Even better. Put him on the 76ers.
Brooklyn Nets?
They're like a 4 or 5 seed at least.
The Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah. I'm convinced, man. He's the best player. He's the best player ever. He's the best player in basketball now.
So is that like a testament to LeBron's legacy, or just how bad and underpowered the Eastern Conference is as a whole?
I mean, it's both. Like, he's feasting on a lack of talent in his conference, naturally, but like...
or young talent that hasn't matured yet.
What's sort of sad is that he's never going to win another MVP because he's discovered the secret to doing this. And it's that
what the Spurs have figured out for like years now.
It's resting.
Who knew rest helps you return to form?
It's taking time off during the season, and obviously they're never going to shorten the season. They're never going to make the season longer by including more games, or not more off days. But so what's going to happen is he's going to take games off during the season, but also the Cavs didn't try that hard. They kind of... Here,
Celtics, take the number 1 seed. Just take it.
It seems obvious now that they're
going to beat you anyway.
Basically intentionally punted the last stretch of the season. maybe not necessarily because they wanted to give up the 1 seed, but they realized it doesn't really matter where we're seated. We are head and shoulders the best team. We will destroy anything in our path all the way to and it just doesn't matter. And this is kind of where I want to take this, is that I think this is kind of where we come in as sports fans, where this has been a horrible. This is
finals, not just finals, but just a playoff in general.
This has been a horrible product to watch.
There's been like 2 series that I can hang my hat to say, hey, they were entertaining. Let's see. You had
Celtics Wizards.
Jazz and Clippers, and then maybe you could throw in and then throw in Rockets, Thunder.
Although what I will say is that even in some of those series, like Rockets Wizards, and I think the Thunder Rockets Wizards, Rockets Thunder and Wizards Celtics, you honestly, a lot of those series were the two teams just trading blowouts back and forth. So like even then, the individual games weren't even that dramatic. And I mean, that I feel like you can chalk that up to variance and inconsistencies maybe in the way that teams are preparing for games. I mean, I don't think there's really anything Adam Silver can do about that. But it is sort of funny. I, for like 10 seconds, saw him on TV earlier and was like, this really should be cause for celebrating how good these super teams are. And I'm like, I know that your job is to sell the league, but like, can you really say that with a straight face?
You just
that this is good for basketball. Like, I don't believe that.
Okay. Now, let's talk about super teams. I hate them. I hate them. Used to be a big 2, now it's a big 3. Now it's just like a big 5 of just getting stars and superstars on one team. And like just enter your starting lineup at this point. It's boring. It's bad for the sport because it's just basically like, hey, you guys hungry for a championship? You all let's put you all on a team so y'all can get that ring. But it's basically saying, hey, it's like taking, like this kid getting a good chunk of the toys, and then these 29 other kids, well, let me see, no. You got 4 kids, okay, you got 4 kids getting a good chunk of the toys. 2 of them getting even more than those other 2 within that 4. And then the rest of the 26 teams are just fighting over what's left. Some will have a little bit, some will have more, some will have less. But it makes for a boring basketball. Like, when I was seeing, like, we see LeBron James and company going against Milwaukee. You're not giving Milwaukee a chance. They're a young upcoming team with the Greek Freak and company. But no one's giving them a chance because they're a small market team, they're young, and they're not even close to like challenging LeBron or the Warriors or anybody. At that point, it's not even basketball anymore. Basketball's supposed to be a team sport. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna give you the ball here. You're gonna score the basketball. It's not like I yearn for back in the day, like, you know how you had Bird and Magic and Jordan. But between those 3 guys, between that triangle, and this is like, I referenced 30 for 30, you had a team. I think it was Mitch Albom or somebody. He said you had a team for those 2 years. You had the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys. They had a superstar in Isaiah Thomas, not to be confused with Celtics Isaiah Thomas.
That is really confusing.
Even though he rocks. Get well soon, buddy. And you can make a case for Joe Dumars.
Isaiah, by the way, if you're listening, Isaiah, we're available. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
But would you make the case of Joe Dumars being a superstar or being like a star, maybe like a step below like Isaiah Thomas? Probably a step below, but Isaiah Thomas was the defensive star. But then he had like he was a defensive superstar, but everyone else were stars. I mean, you had Dumars as a secondary scorer. You had the enforcer of Bill Laimbeer without the combat basketball.
Great game, by the way. If you're into retro gaming at all, Bill Laimbeer's Combat Basketball, it is a real thing. YouTube it.
Horrible SNES game, and then you had a defensive guru in Dennis Rodman. So no, he was great, man. Like he had like some he was crazy.
He is much more well known for that.
But he was more so
now,
crazy when he left. He was more so crazy when he left for the Bulls.
Yeah.
I think it was like his way to stand out, like in the midst of in the presence of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
But they were a team. And that encouraged good team basketball. Like, they had the string together to beat their opponents and then also do trash talk to get in their heads psychologically and stuff. To win they won as a unit and they lost as a unit. But having superstars that basically, even on their worst day, they can still win because they just, by default, win because of they're so much more talented than the other team. That's really not fair.
It sort of reminds you of
It's not basketball.
Yeah, like I would always it makes me think of in my Madden created teams from years ago where I would go in and I would basically be able to. I just realized my computer's on battery. I'm gonna have to go get the charger in a sec. Anyway, you would go in and you would basically, if you knew how to do those preseason drills right in the old Maddens on the old Xbox, you could basically just, if you waited long enough, you could get all of the key players on your team all the way up to 99. And so you would just draft guys that were super fast, and then you basically just had all the best players in the league on your team. If you were even remotely good at managing the cap, you could just have everybody at 99 basically, and you would just raffle stomp everybody you played because you were just automatically better. It was like you were already up by 20 stepping onto the field basically, and that's what it feels like with the Cavs and with the Warriors, where it feels like they're already up by 20 even though they're not. It starts at 0, but you'd think it doesn't. And I'm gonna grab my charger. Sorry.
Go Chargers, go!
And that's why I think the playoffs have just not been good, because you have 4 teams that are up here, and then the rest of the guys are down here. So that's why I think the ratings have just it hasn't been good basketball to watch, because you have a couple of good teams and then everyone else is just a mixed bag. I mean, it's pretty much. And I was gonna give the Spurs credit, put them in there at the top, but with Kawhi Leonard out, it was basically okay, who am I kidding? It's Warriors, Cavaliers, that's it. Honestly, they should have just did one series, because it was just basically just routine. Yeah, we're being forced to basically play these rounds. It's not even fair. What's the point of even playing them if you're sweeping them? The 2 best teams, one from the best team from each conference in the tournament, have all swept their guys. Have swept everybody.
It does sort of feel like
it's boring.
82 plus 10 games that we've seen so far have basically.
Do the 82 games even matter?
What we already knew.
Do the 82 games even matter at this point? It only matters for the people from spots 6 through 8 getting into the playoffs. That's all it matters.
So, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, I finished my thought.
We'll get better at this as we keep going.
I was done with my thought anyway.
For all 2 of you that are still listening, but where I kind of want to go with this is, so. Because, this kind of gets into what sports is about now, right? Once you get past the sort of kid level of sports fandom where just any sports thing is cool, man, that guy hit the ball to the shortstop, that's so cool. Once you get older and you get past that, what is sports about? It's
money.
About...
Politics.
Well, for you, what do you get out of it? We all kind of have opinions about things, but it's finding out all together, all at once, whether those opinions were right or not. And so, to me, and this is kind of where I bring in my baseball fandom, every year in baseball, the Pacoda projections come out before the season where, a couple of years ago when the Royals won the World Series, Pacoda had them winning 70-something games, and And that was the story the whole season as the Royals were just kicking ass. Like,
allow me to interject for a second. Royals, Royals. Sorry.
Talking about Royals. I don't even know that song. But,
Dude, Lord for the win, man.
Brody Croyle.
Oh, my God. Dude, Lord for the win, though. Anyway.
Yeah, Lord is great.
Yeah.
And makes me very sad because I am 27 and I have yet to release my first album. I'm a musician, by the way. Buy my music. Listen to my music. It's dope, if I do say so myself.
The intros and the outros, he did that.
Yes,
I watched him do it. One of them.
Unless otherwise stated, composed all of the music that appears on this show. Anyway, so what I wanted to say about that was, like, every year there's always surprise teams in baseball because baseball is such an incredibly high variance sport, and you see it in the NFL too, where there's a team every year that turns out to be way better than we thought. And like this year, honestly, it was the Falcons. Like, the Falcons were considered to be good coming into the year.
They thought they were.
But everybody shit on Matt Ryan, and he kind of proved everybody wrong this year, and it was kind of cool.
We turned him into Matt crying. Sorry.
Well, yeah, but
sorry,
I mean,
couldn't
he was
resist.
amazing all year.
He's great. It was great. It was dope.
And I'm a Boston College guy, so I love Matt Ryan. But
so he was kind of torn to Super Bowl, but his Patriot fandom still won out.
Yeah.
But he was great that year. He deserved the MVP.
But my point is, I'm trying not to digress too much, but my point is, like, every year in the NBA, or not in the NBA, in the NFL and in MLB, you kind of have teams that kind of come out and surprise you. I don't think that really happens in basketball, really ever, that I can remember. Because we pretty much, and I mean, there's so many possessions per game. It's a sport of, like, rhythm and consistency, and as a result, the best teams basically always win. I mean, obviously
pro basketball is like the most predictable, like, pro sport we got.
And to me, I think as someone who is not. Oh my God, this cat is back here, and he's got a piece of paper and he's tearing the shit out of it. Buddy, I love you, but you gotta stop doing that, man. Anyway.
Dude, he's just trying to chase that paper. As we all do, we gotta chase that paper.
He is literally trying to eat that paper. But yeah, okay, let's talk about the Celtics then.
Do you keep the pick or do you trade the pick?
Oh jeez, this thing is not letting me type. What is going on here?
Personally, I really don't know. Like, it really depends on what their motive is. Because if you want to win next year or if you want to win within the next couple of years, you got to trade it for veterans. Whether it's for Jimmy Butler, Gordon Hayward, or Paul George. Like, if you're wanting to try to beat the Cavs, because you're not going to beat the Cavs at all with the roster that you got. We saw that. That is clear. But do you get a young... Because, like, a young rookie is not going to solve your problems next year. He's not. Probably not even the next 2 years. He's not.
Well, here's a perspective that I'm going to posit as a lifelong Celtics fan. I would say I really didn't follow them as much when I was a kid, obviously, but for many years. And I think this gets into the same, like, what is sports for kind of question is. Right now, looking at this team's season, and I think we can basically pencil them in as being done. They're not going to win this series, so their season is over for all intents and purposes.
But as you said, this season has been a success, though.
That's my point. I honestly, as a Celtics fan, have gotten the exact amount of entertainment out of this team this year that I wanted. And so, from that perspective, yes, would I have loved to see them win the finals? Yeah, totally. But I didn't go in expecting that to happen, I guess. And maybe that's the difference between expectations and sort of desires. But I like, I had fun. I enjoyed watching the Wizards series. I enjoyed watching the regular season games that I saw them play. Last year, I enjoyed seeing them beat the Warriors at the end of the year. That was fun. But
I still think the Warriors got robbed there.
Yeah. But but that's my point, is that, so honestly, if they're going to draft a rookie and wait it out for the next couple of years and lose to LeBron in the playoffs every year, I'm honestly okay with that. So, like, maybe that is wrong. Maybe that makes me like a bad fan or not enthusiastic enough. But I just feel kind of realistic about it. That, like, the alternative again is kind of blowing. It's pushing all your chips into the middle of the table and saying, well, I really, really want to win with Marcus Smart, and I can't say that that's necessarily the wrong thing to do, but as a fan, I honestly would rather than sort of the slightly bigger chance of getting past LeBron in the next 2 years, I would rather see the team essentially be a good team for like the next 6 years. To me, that's more valuable of having like a fun, engaging, entertaining team to watch every year, because to me it's an entertainment product. I've seen my team win in my lifetime. It's not a desperate need for me to see them win a championship, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I want the East to get better, and for them to get better, they gotta get more talent.
True, and so that's my point. Like, Paul George is awesome, but again, there's no guarantee that he doesn't play there a year and leave in free agency. Whereas, who knows what Fultz? It's Fultz, right? It's pronounced Fultz.
Fultz.
This is how much I follow NBA prospects.
Who do you get Fultz or Ball?
Fultz. I think so. And it has nothing to do with like LeVar Ball. It's just I personally gut feeling. I'm feeling that, and I think Lonzo and his dad are not going to be happy playing anywhere other than LA. So you know what? Go right ahead, man. You don't want to bring in a guy that has basically implicitly already said that he doesn't want to play there. You know what I mean? And again, like, it's fair. It's like I think that's his perfect. I think that's his right to say, honestly. And I don't know. I don't.
Now, for me, I think
Lonzo Ball is an entirely different topic. For another day, maybe.
Now, for me though, I do like to see them draft Fultz, but the only problem is, like, that pick wouldn't make any sense if they also keep Isaiah Thomas. Like I said, there's just so many variables that if they decide to do something, then that's when the moves will start making sense to me. For me, I go back to when the Celtics, remember when they had just Paul Pierce and there was like a string of other guys. That's what makes me think of Isaiah Thomas right now, is him and the rest of the other guys. But then management decided, it was Ainge, Danny Ainge, right? He decided to get KG and Ray Allen, and then how they pick up Rondo?
They drafted Rondo.
They drafted
a second
Rondo.
round pick, dude.
So they got they're the pioneers of the big three. So he went and got players to win a championship, and they could have won another one if they didn't choke against the Lakers. So I think if y'all want to win a championship, if y'all want to get good and you want to dethrone the king, you got to get you some superstars. You kind of got to give into the machine of compile your own super team. Because that's really the only way you're going to beat the league. Because regardless of even when LeBron retires at some point, I don't know when, but waiting on him to retire,
We've got another 6 or 7 years.
Waiting on him to retire though, that's wasting like a lot of years and contracts and stuff. But if you want to like beat somebody, you gotta assemble a great team that can like take that team down. Well, so I don't know how they're gonna do it, but if they want to win now, they got to assemble a team. Because like waiting on him to retire, like the Jordan effect. It's like we can't win a championship, or heck, we can't even get past the Eastern Conference unless he retires and plays baseball.
Well, like, okay, and I guess my sort of devil's advocate counterpoint is, well,
he plays blue, so yeah, you counter me.
No. My point is, like, so I don't like the argument, and I've heard this argument several times, and I can't remember where, but like I've heard people say this, basically that like other teams in the East, like maybe the Raptors, should just blow it up and start over and basically, wait for LeBron to retire. And I don't, maybe not even wait for him to retire, but wait for him to at least start declining and wait for the Cavs to kind of decline a little bit.
I don't see him slowing down anytime soon.
But it's like, you're going to, what's the point? Again, and that's my point. Like, this is what I would ask you. Just, you're a Bulls fan. You guys are kind of in a similar position where...
blow the whole team up. Blow the whole team up.
You would rather watch a shitty team for the next 3 or 4 years?
Dude, I grew up watching I at first jumped ship on the team because they were just so terrible once Jordan left the second time. Like, I did not want anything to do with the Bulls, and I jumped ship, and I was like a Toronto fan because of Vince Carter. Then I jumped back to them when they were the baby Bulls, and they were on the come up, and they had like a young Ben Gordon and Kurt Heinrich. Yeah, Luol Deng. Yeah, I started. That's when I started liking Duke players after they got out of that basketball program and started playing for my Bulls. That's when I started cheering for like Duke fans because they had Chris Duhon as well.
Wasn't that where Kyle Korver played? No,
we picked him up around 2012, like 2011, 2012, to try and compete against the Heat. But
where the hell did he play before that? Like when he was in 2K, what team was he on? Years ago.
Philly. I think Philly. Google it.
Oh,
Philly.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Pro Basketball Reference.
Philly. On my mind right now, it's Philly. That's why I remember him playing at Philly.
We'll put in some Benny Hill music while I'm researching. I forgot.
I'm gonna go to the living room real quick.
I forgot his name.
See if those things still there.
I think they went outside.
Yep, they did. Because they needed to talk or something. I don't know.
Oh God.
That's a good thing. That means we're free to do our thing.
Yeah. What is his name? I already
Kyle.
forgot his name.
Kyle. Come here, Kyle Korver.
Wow. How the hell did I forget the dude's name?
Come here, Kyle.
My brain just like died. Holy shit, dude, you were right. Philadelphia, Utah, and then Chicago. Yeah, I remember that.
Who, the Utah Jazz?
Man, holy shit, you have such a good memory for shit like that.
I told you my dad was a 76ers fan. I had to like keep track of Allen Iverson, Kyle Korver, Theo Ratliff, Dikembe Mutombo, and Aaron McKee.
If your team is gonna intentionally say, look, we don't want to put a good product on the field, on the court, whatever, then you're basically just gonna check out as a fan. You're not gonna, like, Phillies fans have not been following the Phillies the last few years. You know what I mean? They might look at the end of the season and be like, 66 wins.
Remember the Phillies were good?
But, yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
What was that? Ryan Howard and who was the other one?
Ryan Howard and Chase Utley, and they had Roy Halladay there for a few years, and Jimmy Rollins, Shane Victorino. I feel like I know a lot more 2010 Phillies than I probably should.
He knows baseball. You know baseball.
I try. But my point is, and this is kind of how I feel about the Red Sox, too, that there's a lot of hand-wringing in Boston right now about, like, David Price, and is David Price going to be worth the rest of this contract? And, how often should Dombrowski trade more prospects? He's basically traded everybody away at this point, but to get, Chris Sale. And it's like, the way I look at it is this. I have seen my team win in my lifetime, and I don't, like I said, I don't feel this, like, intense need to see the Red Sox win the World Series every year. So for me, what's more valuable to me now as a fan is just an entertaining team. And they've got that. They have a lot of cool young players. And potentially Rafael Devers coming, maybe even this year. I
love the name Mookie
which
Betts.
we actually got to see, or I got to see him play a couple of years ago, actually, for the Red Sox single-A team when they came through town. But
see who play?
Devers. He's the top prospect in the Red Sox system right now.
Your endeavors.
But my point is, like, that's all I really want. And so I honestly would prefer Dombrowski not cash in the chips and not trade prospects, because that is making it less and less likely that the Red Sox, say the 2022 Red Sox, are going to be any good. You know what I mean? When David Price is in the last year of that deal and he's topping out at 87 miles an hour and has basically turned into CC Sabathia. Like,
oh gosh, is he still in the league?
He is. This is probably his last year, but he's still in baseball.
I did see his name on the stat line. I was like, "What? Are you really still here?"
Still for the Yankees.
Is AJ Burnett still there, or did he retire?
No, yeah, I know he's retired.
Because that was a package deal. Those guys came in at the same time.
Well, he went to the Pirates and pitched like pretty well for the Pirates for a couple of years.
Your career goes to die when you're at the Pirates, though.
No, they were good.
Good.
That was when they were good. That was the Ray Searage Magic, where they had the Magic pitching coach who just every bad pitcher who went up there suddenly became good. And it's happening with Ivan Nova this year. But anyway, this is all massively beside the point. The point is, I keep saying this, the point is.
Sorry.
The point is in my pants. But what I want is to be entertained. I want fun players on my team. I want to feel like I didn't waste my time following the team and watching games and things like that. And to be honest, if you had fun, if you enjoyed yourself, if you got to pump your chest a little bit when they did cool things, then you did. Then you got value out of it. In my opinion, anyway. I don't think because just the math doesn't work. You have 30 teams or 32 teams or whatever. There's one champion. So does every other fan base consider their season a complete and utter failure? I don't think so. I think the whole point is that you're eternally optimistic about things and you enjoy them.
And
it doesn't have to operate like a business where we failed to extract perfect value from this transaction and therefore
we failed to meet our
failure.
We failed to meet our status quo.
And this is why, and I'm going to rant for a second here because you've had some rants and it's my turn.
Go for it.
This is why I hate the Sam Hinkie thing. I hate the process. That might be the mathematically perfect way of assembling a super team.
You hate it.
The Astros have now been kind of proving this method correctly in baseball, where now the Astros are really, really good because of all those draft picks, and the Cubs too. Theo came in and blew up the Cubs, and now the Cubs won the World Series.
The Cubbies.
God. But it's not fun. I mean, it's different if you're the Cubs, because the Cubs have tried everything else over. If you're a Cubs fan at this point, you're like, "Fuck it, I'm never gonna see them win anyway."
My brother was a Cubs fan.
Go for it, man. Do whatever you gotta do. If we gotta lose for 100 years to win one, sure, which is what they did. But
my brother still is loving that.
And you know what? He'll get to love it forever. And that's my point.
Dude, we get to see one of the longest droughts end.
But it's like, I don't know, man. If you're a fan of a different team without that sort of weird historical baggage, you just want to be entertained. You want to have fun. You want to be invested. You want a good player on your team to root for and to be like, yeah, that's my good player. Yeah. Like, I am with Mookie Betts. I love Mookie Betts. He's my favorite. And Xander. I love those guys. They're so much fun.
Xander
and Bogaerts. It also blows my fucking mind that Mookie Betts is like 4 years younger than me. But I feel like this is only going to get worse as I get older. But the point is, it should be entertaining. It should be fun. And I think teams really ought to treat it less like they should act less like they're the CEO of like Exxon or Google or something. And
Amazon.
More like, hey, we're in the entertainment business and we should be putting, in the words of Ridley Scott, putting bums in seats. Right? Like, that's what it's all about.
Think of the WWE. Like, not everybody can win the championship belt.
Bingo. Bingo. The WWE does an amazing job of that, of always being entertaining, even if your guy isn't on top. It's always fun. It's always engaging. Whatever. Some people are wrestling people. Some people aren't. But honestly, I'm like I don't really go out of my way to watch wrestling unless it's with this guy. But
we
honestly,
roommate one time.
Yeah, we were roommates in college, and so I watched a lot of WWE.
Dude,
then
I was recapping the time when Miz cashed in the briefcase and hit Orton with the skull crusher finale.
That was great.
And won the championship. And I just marked out like crazy.
You know what I mean? I don't know. This was a long rambling rant that really didn't make sense and didn't go anywhere.
Sam Hinkie.
Sam Hinkie. And like, it is my official editorial position that Sam Hinkie fucking sucks.
It's like, so let's tank and let's get 3 big men. It's like one that doesn't have no offensive game. Let's get one that's injury prone, but now he's proven to be good, but he keeps getting injured. And let's get one that has an offensive game but doesn't play defense. Let's like get a cluster of centers, basically.
What I do appreciate, doesn't it kind of remind you of the Lions drafting a wide receiver in the first round like 4 years in a row? It was Roy Williams. And I mean, they got Megatron out of it.
They got Megatron, so.
But I do appreciate that because it is funny, and Sam Hinkie really should be ironically made fun of for literally. It almost reminds me, like, it almost feels like Sam Hinkie was like selling like Mary Kay or something. Like he came in and he was like, man, have I got a radical business? Like, it was very Office Space. Like, dude, I've got a radical business proposition for you. What if being bad was actually good? And it's like,
they would pay you to lose.
Like, he just, yeah, no shit. Like, he just came up with basically a like, you know, like, I can almost imagine him, like, presenting this to the board of directors, like, this, like, all these pie charts and shit that he generated in Excel.
Snake Eyes, who cares? They're paying you to lose just for the excitement of it.
I feel like we're gonna have to probably edit all these cuss words out, and I'm the only one that's cussing too, which is the best part.
I'm trying to prepare for doing like stuff on Twitch, and I want it to be family friendly.
Are you allowed to cuss on Twitch?
Yes. For me, we're gonna go off the sports for a second, like about Twitch and stuff. Like for me, I wouldn't want to cuss much. I think one time I streamed, and I was like, oh shit. Like I actually said, because like I thought I had owned gold in Rocket League, but turned out that wasn't the case. But for me, I like watching streams with my little nephew, but certain streams I cannot watch because the guy at a drop of a hat could say a cuss word, and I don't want that to happen.
You can't edit that out because it's live.
But there's like one guy I know, he goes by like Game J06, aka Big John. He constantly promotes having a family stream, and it's great. And he has a real popular channel. And I'm like, whoa, that's really inspirational. You don't have to like be angry video game nerd-esque and like drop a bunch of like cuss words or even create cuss words and whatnot to get a following, to get a strong following.
It's the sort of thing that like...
And it's a stream I can watch with my nephew.
I'm a potty mouth, but it is the sort of thing that it's only funny if it's creative.
I'm a potty mouth too, but I just don't want future employers seeing me like that. Yeah. It costs me a job.
We'll come up with some funny sound effect that I can clip and put over all the swear word. So like...
I'm telling you, the SVU soundtrack.
Well, no. We'll say something like, whoa! And then I'll be like, whoa! And you'll just hear, whoa! All right, people, that has been this week's, or this month's, or this year's, or this universe's DVD podcast.
We're going to have more.
There will more than likely be more of these. He's D, I'm Dan. We talk about sports and other things sometimes. Seriously, reach out to us. Let us know what you think. Find us on various social media things. And that's it.
Take care.
I don't really have a shtick or a sort of a cool call-out sign-off, so I'm just gonna say...
Be nice to people and make money.
I would simply say, be good and do good.
That's it.
Good luck and good night.
Later.
Man, we're 10 seconds in and we've already clipped the mic out. This is going to be a thing.
I caught it.
Oh, wait. Selfie camera.
I caught it.
Okay, so